What's going on? It's Big Mike. Welcome to the newest podcast from Beyond the Tracks Productions. This is Big Mike Spotlight, where I put the spotlight on you. Today I have an amazing woman, friend, family, community activist, entrepreneur, politician. She does it all. It's Kellie Vining is in the building. What's going on, Kellie? How you doing?
Hello, Mike.
All right.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Let's jump right into it, man.
I'd like to correct a couple things in that introduction.
All right, go ahead.
I don't consider myself an activist, but an advocate.
Advocate, okay.
I like to advocate for people and help them find information and resources to help improve the quality of their lives.
I love it.
And I definitely don't consider myself a politician.
Well, I'm going to consider you a politician because you are a city council member.
Yes.
You have been for decades.
One decade now, yes.
Has it? It's only been 10 years. It seems like you've been in there for 50 years.
Yep.
and you're only 50. So.
Right.
But yeah, man, I appreciate, once again, everything you do for the community, for the city. That's one of the reasons why I wanted you on this podcast, just kind of dive a little deep into some of those things. So let's start off. Let's talk about city council. You said you've been on there for 10 years.
Yes.
A decade. I like that better. A decade sounds better, don't it? 10 years. You represent Precinct 3.
Yes.
Kind of take us through a road of how that journey came to be and kind of what you feel like you've accomplished, what you still want to accomplish, things like that.
Yes. Well, I have been recruited for several years prior to running. I never wanted to run.
Okay.
And I was recruited heavily by Mary Connor, who was a former, the late Mary Connor, she was a former council person. Mm-hmm. And Jackie and Kelvin McGee were also really big part of persuading me. After a couple years of asking, I finally, what happened was our current council member at the time,
Dorothy Edwards, I believe, wasn't it?
No, it was Chris Beaker.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He got married and moved out of the precinct. So, in order to run and represent a precinct, you have to live in that precinct.
Correct.
So he moved outside of the 3rd precinct, and a couple of the council members recruited me to come and interview for the position because they had to appoint someone in that seat. Ultimately, they chose Willie Haw. Mm-hmm. And between that time, I think that was like August to November when the election was coming, I had to decide if I wanted to run. And I'll say Jackie heavily influenced me to accept that challenge.
Thank you, Jackie.
And yes, and I won, and got right to work. Some of the bigger things that I think we've done besides working so hard to improve the infrastructure and things like that below ground that people don't really know that we're working on is the fire station development over on East 3rd Street, Fire Station 1. And the Labor Park project was another huge project. The city eventually worked with me on the Selma Rankins Community Garden.
Yes.
So that started out when we started. It was a private owner, but they sold the land to the city. So the city allowed us to remain there. Okay. And so those are some of the bigger projects besides what we do every day in my work at the library, working with families and children in the community. There's probably a million other things that I'm leaving out that we've done as a council. Restructuring the public safety department was a big project that took quite a few years.
Can you touch base a little bit? I think, with like myself being on the CPC and different boards like that, community members have a misconception on the process. So they think, it goes to whatever CPC, and then it goes to city council, and then it's approved, and like they think that work should start right away. And so they're like, well, how come this isn't happening? How come? But things, kind of break that down, that things are happening.
We were speaking about that earlier, that when I came into city council, I had a lot of big ideas, and especially to try to redevelop the east side and specifically the Orchard East neighborhood. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. We're going to take over the world. And I quickly found out that everything goes in cycles of 30, 60, 90. So when you come up with this great idea, it might take you 30, 60, or 90 days just to get it to the point where it goes in front of the Citizens Planning Commission.
Right.
And then it might take another 30, 60, 90 days to get it before the council. So it could be 6 months before anything starts to even move.
Right.
So in municipal government, it takes time to do projects. That's not to speak of all the regulations. You could have state regulations, you could have federal regulations.
Yes.
One project, for instance, that we're attempting to work on now is furthering the Mason Run development.
Yes.
And so there's different types of land. If there's certain animals on that land, certain native plants, wetlands, and things like that, you have to go through a state agency.
Right.
If we're working on another big project that I sit on, is the Heritage Park Committee that you sit on with me, and a lot of that development is so close to the river that we have to go through all of those agencies.
Right.
So there's a lot of steps and things that people don't see. Environmental studies, brownfield
I get that all
studies.
the time. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, be patient.
Yes.
We talk about with the city and things like that. We talk about, a lot of people don't know about the master plan.
Yeah.
Right, so I refer them to that. Like, go check out the master plan to see some of these things that are happening.
Yes.
And then they look at it and they're like, well, how are they going to afford this? And how they're going to raise our taxes? And it's like, look at it, read it.
And then that's part of the time issue as well. Is sometimes we have a lot of big ideas, but we still need to find the money to fund the projects. Right. So you might have to write a grant. That takes time. And then you have to wait for the grant approval. That's another allotment of time. So government moves slower than a person like me. And
I didn't realize that till I started becoming active and involved. And it's like, damn, like we've met 4 times on the same subject.
Yeah.
And it's like little things have to change. But then you have to go back. You have to schedule another meeting to vote on that to make sure that's correct. You may have to have 3 public hearings.
Exactly. You have to announce those and then set the dates and all of that.
Yeah. So. Let's swing to 2 public hearings and things like that. Mm-hmm. I always find it interesting that, like, I listen to I watch a lot of the city council meetings on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So glad you guys started doing that, because that's when you don't have time, you can still be involved and hear things. But public hearings, I just find it interesting that, one, the public comes out real late. Like, they usually come, if you got to have 3, they're all at the 3rd one. Mm-hmm. Well, by that time, most things have been handled, right? And they're angry about something. I find too, when the public is angry about something, they come in droves.
Yes.
It's so many people in there that it's standing room only. Mm-hmm. But on the small little things that I guess people, they don't feel they matter, but they matter so much more than people think. Yeah. You never see them until that end. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like, what advice can you give the public to become a little more involved with that kind of stuff?
I think that it basically is what it is. Elections, public hearings, even like with the community block grant funding, that specific grant funding that goes into low income areas. Okay. we go through these processes many times without any input from the public. Part of our council goals is to find ways to disseminate this information so that we can get more community engagement, because it is important. And some of these projects, the state and the federal government requires community engagement. Okay. So I think I've just accepted it. I might be somewhat jaded, or realistic, however you want to call it, because I'm so used to it now. And we had this conversation last night. I'm not huge on social media, but someone made a comment of we need to go to the city council meeting and demand this and that, and I'm like, herein lies the problem. You talk about coming to a council meeting on Facebook, but then you don't show up. But what I've noticed over the years, and what I do tell residents, when I do see action being taken and moves being made, is because people have strategically come together and made themselves known to the council through visits to the meeting, letters to the appropriate department heads. Okay. And it's that old adage of the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yes.
And I can't speak for the entire council and administration, city administration, but I would say, in my observation, is that when you call these things out in public, you get a quick response.
And I will say that is something that I have always loved about you on city council. Some people will say, "Well, Kellie's too quiet."
Yeah.
And I'm like, Kellie is not quiet by no means. You are quiet spoken, but a lot of times I hope people hear the questions that you're asking. I hope people hear the statements that you're making, because you don't always have to be this loud, type of person. Some of the questions you ask, I'm like, ooh.
I think the first few years, because you're on a learning curve, and there's a lot to learn. And so I didn't always know if questions were appropriate at that certain time, which kind of worked in my favor, because I could ask those questions, whatever I wanted to ask, because I didn't know if it was proper or improper to ask them. So why not ask them?
What do they say?
There's never a bad
go ahead
question.
And do it, and then get punished for it later.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that, and I think I was watching the this last council meeting back, and I said to myself, you need to speak up, Kellie. Speak into the mic and be louder. Miss Maddie Hoy used to fuss at me about that. Kellie, you need to speak louder. Right. So I try to remember that. And that is a complaint that I get, that people think that I sit in those meetings and don't talk, but I'm not one who likes to keep saying the same thing. And I think what the people don't understand is I've been on the phone, I've been in the email, I've been down at the city hall.
Right. You're at the work sessions.
Yeah, I'm at the work sessions.
People,
I'm in the closed
you got to watch
sessions.
the work sessions.
So I've said a lot that maybe I haven't said publicly, because I've already gathered that information, or things like that. So sometimes I just don't believe in talking just to be talking, and I don't believe in having meetings just to have a meeting.
Exactly. That meeting could have been an email.
Exactly.
As they say.
Yes. So I do get accused of not speaking up, but I just don't think people know how hard I do fight. And I've and a lot of the things I shouldn't even have to fight for, they should just be happening. And the small things that I have to fight for, and I serve the whole community, and that's what I like about council, that it is nonpartisan, and you're expected to serve the whole community. But of course, 3rd Precinct is near and dear to my heart. So,
we'll let that slide.
Yeah.
I'm in the 2nd Precinct, but
I'm second too, because we're right next to
I'm
each
very
other.
active. I grew up, as we say, across the tracks.
Yes.
So I'm very diligent about what's going on down there too.
And it makes sense because it's in so much of those plans you talked about with the master plan, the Orchard East Development sub area plan, the Heritage Park plan. A lot of the Battlefield plan falls into our precinct, so it makes sense that we would focus on that because the city has a heavy focus on that area right now.
Right.
And a lot of the funding that we get through grant funding from the federal government, a lot of that, not all of it, comes because of the census tract that our precincts sit in have a certain number of low income residents.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, it only makes sense that we focus on that area.
So for the people that don't know, everybody should know, but a lot of people don't. What do you do at the library?
At the library, my title is Circulation Clerk 2, but I could sum it up to say that we disseminate information.
Okay.
That's what my job consists of. So information is a lot of things, and we feel like at the library, any information that you're looking for, we can find it for you.
I like it.
So that would be my job.
And you guys do a lot of things
nutshell.
with the kids.
But now, at our branch, Navarre, it is special in terms of we do a lot more than a we don't want to say we're not normal, but we do more than most libraries do. For instance, most libraries, we have 16 branches in the county of Monroe, which is a big deal.
I didn't realize it was that
itself.
many.
Yeah, 16 branches.
Okay.
And we, most branches, we do set programming once a week, or we do at the library after school, which is our Atlas programming. So all 16 of our libraries do that, but I would say we're the only one who does programming Monday through Friday, because we have to address gaps in services, and so there's a lot that we do that maybe you wouldn't think would happen in a library.
Right.
And
yeah, that's why I wanted you to talk about
all of them
bit,
publicly, because maybe we shouldn't be doing them. But we have a lot of unattended minors. We're located in a transient neighborhood where people come and go. We have the 2 family shelters right there, so we see a lot of turnover in who the residents are at that time. A lot of our children, for whatever reason, are unattended, and a lot of them a large number of them come straight from school without going home, and they need to eat. They're hungry, they want someone to listen to what happened at school today, who's beefing, who likes who, and all that. So I mean, at the library, we are so many things. We like to say we're teachers, social workers. A kid busted his chin yesterday. I couldn't find mom, so I had to attend to that. And we're
that's
doctors,
true. You do
nurses.
it all. Yeah, you do it all. And that's and that's why
in particular, I'm the sergeant at arms. So so there's a lot of roles that we play at the library.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to touch on that, because growing up, like, that library more than any other was just that. It was.
You remember Jenny?
It was so much more than going in there to get a book.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was, you went in there to have conversations. You went in there for help.
Yes.
You went in there for counseling. You went in there for, it was just so much, and it like you said, you do a lot more. You probably do a lot of things that's not required of you, but you do it. So we definitely appreciate that.
Yes.
So I want to spotlight
librarian Amber, and if we could stay on the library a bit, because I'm sure if you watched the meeting, there's some sort of plan, not the plan I thought, but some sort of plan to develop a complex with the library, the community center, and hopefully the learning bank. And I think that some people don't understand that the library is not just a place to check out books. Like, it might be, I'll tell you my week last week. I'm helping a man who needs to be housed, who just got out of prison after 46 years. So he didn't see computers, Wi-Fi, he doesn't know any of it. So
Wow.
we have to acclimate him to all of those things. I told you about the little boy who bust his chin open. A lady came in and we try to have clothes, gently used clothes and shoes. Her kid needed shoes, so we were able to get a couple pair of gym shoes. There's so much as far as helping people, like I said, improve their quality of life. When people are in the shelter they're not from Monroe, they don't even
Right.
know the bus schedule.
Right.
We do employment applications, unemployment application, just so many different things. So I think that's important for those who are tasked with building this new complex to not think that Navarre Library is just a place to run in and get books. It's not. It's a place where we work to make people's lives better. And
I love it. Say that one more time.
It's a place where we work to make people's lives better.
Yes.
And there's other agencies out there, but a lot of people just feel comfortable in a library. They don't feel like going down to DHS where you feel like you're begging or you're not getting that respect and that dignity. And that's something that we're able to give people at the library, help them with dignity. And it's a big deal. Navarre Library is a much bigger deal. And I credit the Monroe County Library System because our director Nancy has recognized that, and so she allows us to be very community service oriented at the library.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that.
So let's all pray together that the library expands so that we can meet our storage and other needs, circulation needs, to continue to help the area there.
Right.
So
like you talked a little bit about volunteers with the library system. Is there a process for that, or can people just come into the library and say, I want to volunteer?
we do, and a lot of times we'll send you probably to Dorsch, which is our sister library near the courthouse, or Ellis, because they have a lot more work that needs to be done in terms of volunteerism. But we have in terms of library services, but we work with the community college, the students who are in early childhood development, and, who want to work with children, or teachers from the colleges that are not graduated yet. We give them a chance to come in and work directly with the children and the patrons, so they get an idea of what it's going to be
what's
really
going on in the real world.
Yeah. So we do have a great source from the community college and the public schools and the universities and colleges in the region, where we do have students come and help us out, and then we help them out at the same time. So
all right. And I also called you an entrepreneur because you have a business. You are a business owner.
I'm always coming up with some big idea.
Yeah, I feel like me and you are the same. It's like we always got something going on. And people have always told me before, damn, you got a lot of businesses. I was like, when has that ever been a bad thing?
Yeah,
you know.
It's
shout out your business.
Yeah, so I'm the owner and operator, along with my 4 children, of the Eastside Beauty Supply, located at 1104 East 4th Street, inside of the Village Market, and we sell what they call ethnic hair and hair accessories.
Okay.
So, but don't get me wrong, when I say ethnic, we serve any and everybody. We have a little something for everybody. It don't matter if you're black or white, like Michael Jackson said.
There you go.
So come see us at Eastside Beauty Supply. It's been a struggle. I think we started this in the middle of the pandemic, or should I say at the beginning of the pandemic, or maybe it was the middle, 2020. And
it seems like it was like in the first probably 6 months after.
And I have been basically selling hair out of my trunk since like 2014. So I thought it was recession proof, COVID proof, and everything, but what the pandemic really did, it really did slow. It slowed us down in terms of our supply chains and whatnot.
Right.
The cost have went up 2 and 3 times, so we've had to adjust how we order our inventory and things like that. And I want to regroup and keep improving on that. We want to keep that store because people drive to Toledo, Detroit, Ann Arbor to get black hair care products. And if you go into like a Walmart or something, you have like a little bitty area, and then it's marked up like 500-600%. And part of our business, the word is escaping me, but our business motto is we want to be a help to our neighborhood. So while it is a for-profit business, a big part of our motto is helping other members of other entrepreneurs. So we have a young lady who sells lip gloss, and another young lady who sells waist beads, and then my cousin, she has her candles in there, and so we try to help other entrepreneurs to be able to have a space to, and we couldn't have done it without Heather Boone over at the Oaks, because when we bought the grocery store, that was part of her concept to have part of that be used as a business incubator. And so we furthered that, myself and my cousin and Aaron Crockett and Sonia Furton, we started where we do pop-ups at the first of every month.
I've been seeing that. Yeah, my wife's been doing a lot of pop-ups, and then I seen that, and I'm like, okay, like that's another opportunity.
Day, so
yeah,
but we do that, and we usually have about 10 vendors, and they're pretty successful.
Yeah.
And
I love that you're fostering new young business owners.
Yes, and there's a lot. Mike, you wouldn't believe how many of us are in our house, just like your wife, cooking up candles, melting wax, making perfumes, T-shirts, food. There's so many things. I got a new idea where I want us to try to develop a co-op where we can showcase some of this good food that these home cooks are doing. You know, I help a lot of people get their licensing and things to be able to legally sell food and things like that.
You're the person I might need to talk to soon.
I've written standard operating procedures that fly straight through the health department, regulations and everything. So we could do that. And you know, people always say we need some good soul food, and I said, well, you know, there's a lot of overhead to running a restaurant, but if all of us came together, shared in the cost of the overhead, and maybe get a building, or maybe we could get somebody to donate it. And one thing the city's doing now, I'm sure you heard about, is they're white boxing some of the properties, and then they lease them to the entrepreneur at a good rate.
Definitely a fair rate.
Yeah, and then
I might want it for free.
Yeah, and for free might be a thing. Who knows? You don't know if you don't ask, but. And then we come in there, but I did say we have to have a committee with somebody's grandma on there, so she can say, "No, baby, this macaroni and cheese ain't right. You know, you got to go back to the drawing board."
Baby, you do not put raisins in the potato salad. We ain't
because they just did this in the city of Detroit. Now we had this conversation at my Uncle Dave's annual rib off.
Okay.
And then a week later, I see on social media in West Livernois they've opened this same concept. There's all these different restaurants in one building.
Okay.
So we're going to go up there and check it out. And, you know, I always have a lot of big ideas, but I don't have the time anymore to execute these things. So
yeah, I definitely can understand that.
Yeah, even with the community garden, the Selma Rankins Community Garden at the corner of Winchester and East 2nd, we're going into our 9th planting season. We just grew almost 2,000 pounds of food and gave it all away.
Nice.
And but I'm getting older now, and although gardening is my joy and I love having my hands in the dirt, I'm just getting too busy And
you just got to be the director now.
Yeah,
you just got to direct.
And I do, and we start that in February.
Okay.
And I don't mind looking for funding and things like that, but we do need more help, you know. And so it's gotten to the point even where I've said, I don't know if people want a community garden as much as they want free vegetables. And I can also get that for people through our community college. I don't want to misquote, but they have several acres that they plant every year, and they'd be more than happy to share them, and they have shared them.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
So so if it gets to the point, and a lot of community service workers that are ordered through the court, I have to shout them out, because even though the judge might make them come, they get over there and they work. You know, and I appreciate it.
I guess that's the purpose.
Yeah,
right?
and I appreciate that, because a lot of times we wouldn't have been able to get our harvest or even get our things in the ground without them. So shout out to the JAWS program and for coming out. The guys, they come and they really help us. But I am getting to the point where I'm going to have to make a decision if I can continue on with it without some funding for a garden manager and some real help from the community.
Okay.
Because that's the concept of a community garden, that the community is their garden.
Community, you heard that,
Kelly
community.
and her kids.
Monroe City, stand up. Get with Kelly on all social media platforms, and she'll tell you when you can come down and do what.
Yes.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you do need some community service hours, check me out. I'll give you some.
Well, I hope I don't need none.
Well, you know, we have
I'll be
children
out there in them streets.
The young people the young people like Honor Society, National Honor Society.
Oh, yeah.
Upward Bound. So we get a lot of kids who just have to do it for their high school graduation requirements. So it's not all like criminally.
Hey, you know, I don't be in them streets no more. I don't know how that works.
God, thank God. He delivered you from those streets.
Yes.
So I'm trying to think of what else we have going on, but yeah, the garden, we need help. So come on out and help us.
Before we get out of here, let them know how they can get in touch with you and for whatever, whether it be the library, whether it be the community garden, whether it be young entrepreneurs or old entrepreneurs like me.
Well, I always shock people when I do this, but you know, I'm a little old school. So you can reach me at 734-819-7676. I'm on Facebook as Kellie Vining Epps. And I have Instagram and TikTok and all that, but Johanna handles all that, and I couldn't even tell you the handle.
You got your social media experts handling that
I
business
don't even
for you?
know, but I have mastered Facebook, and you can always call me or email me at kelly.vining@monroemi.gov.
Boom.
And I'll get back with you.
There it is.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like to do on all of our podcasts is I like you to leave a word of inspiration, encouragement, a saying, something to motivate, whatever you want to say.
Besides looking myself in the mirror every morning and telling myself that I love you, saying that 10 times, that's a new practice, and it's so uplifting because I can't get to number 10 ever without the biggest smile. So we need to remind ourselves that we love ourselves, because it does something to your inner self to look in the mirror and say that. But my saying all month, because I've been going through the storm, is it gets greater later.
Ooh. That's a T-shirt.
Yes.
all you vinyl makers out there, that's a T-shirt.
Yes.
And I just like to say, I've been on something real different lately, and it's now. Mm-hmm. And what that means to me is no opportunity wasted. And so everything that I'm doing, from this podcast to my DJ business to work to my relationship with my wife to whatever it is, do it now.
Yes.
Do it now. Don't wait. What you waiting for?
You know, Mike, I was just saying that because I went to a baby shower and they had us write down words of advice to the parents, and that's what I said. Whatever you Whatever you tell your kids you're gonna do it now, because you blink and they are grown.
Facts.
Time goes by so fast.
Yes.
So do it now.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with that being said, I am Big Mike. This is Big Mike Spotlight, and this is my special guest, Kellie Vining.
Thank you for having me.
Peace.